St. Augustine of Hippo reviews Roman calamities before Christ, showing that the worship of false gods did not protect them. Instead, they were overwhelmed by moral corruption and soul vices. This video is taken from Augustine of Hippo Against the Pagans, Book 2, spanning chapters 1 to 5. The first chapter discusses the need to limit responses to adversaries whose minds are obstinately resistant to clear evidence of truth. There therefore frequently arises a necessity of speaking more fully on those points which are already clear, that we may, as it were, present them not to the eye, but even to the touch, so that they may be felt even by those who close their eyes against them. It highlights the futility of endless debates and cautions against always addressing objections to avoid becoming like those who never attain the knowledge of truth. In the second chapter, Augustine recaps the content of the first book, which dealt with the attribution of wars and calamities to the Christian religion and the reasons behind the suffering of both the godly and ungodly. For in this ruin there fell stones and timbers, but in the ruin those profligates effected, there fell not the mural, but the moral bulwarks and ornaments of the city, and their hearts burned with passions more destructive than the flames which consumed their houses. The discussion also addressed the outrages against chaste women by enemy forces, and criticism of those who insulted the Christians during these calamities. The chapter sets the stage for a deeper exploration of the city of Rome's history and its relationship with the Christian religion. In the third chapter, Augustine argues that the calamities suffered by the Romans occurred long before the rise of Christianity, and challenges those who blame Christianity for these disasters. He references the phrase, "drought and Christianity go hand in hand" from Pluvia Defit, Causa Christiani, and Tertullian's Apology, chapter 40. Augustine questions why the Roman gods allowed such calamities to happen before the spread of Christ's name, citing Symmachus's accusation of Christians to Emperor Valentinianus in the year 384. In chapter 4, Augustine questions why the Roman gods failed to provide moral guidance to their worshippers. He highlights the impurities and obscenities practiced in their worship ceremonies, including celebrations for goddesses like Coelestis and Berecynthia, as well as the Tables festival. Augustine notes, "And on the holy day consecrated to her purification, there were sung before her couch productions so obscene and filthy for the ear. I do not say of the mother of the gods, but of the mother of any senator or honest man. Nay, so impure that not even the mother of the foul-mouthed players themselves could have formed one of the audience." These practices, likely referring to the Galli, who are castrated, self-flagellating priests, were far from virtuous and were conducted in the name of gods who should have promoted good conduct. Augustine recognizes that the gods are, in fact, evil spirits who are made to distort and attack the message of the one true God. In chapter 5, Augustine questions whether a respected Roman like Scipio Nasica, who was chosen to carry the image of the goddess Cybele into the city, would approve of the obscene and immodest rites practiced in her honor. He ponders whether Scipio would wish such indignities upon his own mother. Augustine states, "Therefore, the mother of the gods being such a character as the most profligate man would be ashamed to have for his mother, and meaning to enthrall the minds of the Romans, demanded for her service their best citizen, not to ripen him still more in virtue by her helpful counsel, but to entangle him by her deceit, like her of whom it is written, 'The adulteress will hunt for the precious soul.'" The chapter highlights the absurdity of venerating a goddess who demands such shameful ceremonies. Augustine cites references to Cicero's De Natura Deorum, Book 2, chapter 24, and Proverbs chapter 6, verse 26, to support these arguments. In conclusion, we see from the examples of chapters 1 to 5 of Book 2 of the City of God that Augustine of Hippo outlines the general moral decay that existed before Christianity. He shows that the Romans would go so far as to show a lack of respect to their own goddess Cybele, the matron of Rome. This illustrates ultimately that the Roman pagans did not build a strong foundation on virtues. Decadence and moral decay will lead to the downfall of any civilization. As a man becomes fixated on his own self-serving interests, it breeds corruption and contentment for the governmental system. Thus, ultimately, there is a lack of resistance when the whole thing comes toppling down. whether by outside barbarism or internal indifference.